Summary of Popol Vuh by Dennis Tedlock. The storyteller says the story that is about to be told is the origin story of the ancient Quiche and Mayan world, despite the fact that this version was secretly written during the time that Spain was in control. The story is being told by a narrator and other writers because the original Mayan text can no longer be found. There is only sky and sea at first. Hurricane, newborn thunderbolt, and sudden thunderbolt, 3 gods, come down from the sky and talk to sovereign plumed serpent, a god who lives in the sea. In order to make land, they decide to empty the sea. They also decide to make people so that someone can praise their work. Land comes out of the water all of a sudden, and the sovereign plumed serpent makes animals. After everything is over, the gods ask the animals to thank the ones who made them, but the animals only make noises that can't be understood. The gods say that the animals will be food for people in the future. The gods then try to make a person out of mud, but the mud person melts. The gods ask Xmucain and Xpiacock for help carving people out of wood after this defeat. Xmucain helps make wood people appear out of thin air, and they suddenly come to life. The gods are let down again, though, because the wood people forget who made them. It floods on them, and the people in the woods turn into monkeys. Everything is still dark because the sun hasn't come up yet. But a god named Seven Mikot chooses to become the sun and moon anyway so he can light up the wood people. He wears turquoise and valuable metals on his face that reflect light and make it look like the sun is shining. Hunahpu and Xbalanque, the twin boy gods, know that Seven Mikot and his kids Zipacna and Earthquake are bad because they magnify themselves. The boys hide under Seven Mikot's tree one day and use their blowguns to shoot him in the mouth. 13 Mikot rips Hunahpu's arm off as he runs to pick up 7 Mikot when he falls. Xbalanque and Hunahpu ask Great White Peccary and Great White Coati for help. They suggest that the two of them pretend to be 7 Mikot's grandparents and bone setters to trick him. Afterward, 7 Mikot is yelling in pain when the 4 walk by his house. When 7 Mikot asks the grandparents what they're doing, they tell him they're setting bones and fixing teeth. He begs them for help. The grandparents just pick out 7 Mikot's blue teeth and valuable metals. 7 Mikot dies of shame, and Hunahpu's arm is fixed by Great White Peccary and Great White Coati. And now Hunahpu and Xbalanque are going to look at Zipacna. The 400 boys, a group of gods, pull a log to their hut one day while Zipacna bathes. Zipacna offers to help the boys, but they are afraid of how strong he is. They ask him to stay in their hut, but Zipacna turns them down. The boys plan to kill Zipacna by tricking him, so the next day they ask him to help them dig a big hole. When Zipacna gets to the bottom of the hole, the boys throw a big log at him. But Zipacna, who is good at tricks, hides in a side tunnel he dug. After 3 days, Zipacna gets out of jail and destroys the 400 boys' hut, killing them. As soon as Hunahpu and Xbalanque find out about this, they make a fake crab and feed Zipacna nothing for 2 days. They show Zipacna the crab, which is hidden under a mountain. Zipacna moves into the spot, and the mountain rests on his chest. He turns into stone. Hurricane then tells the twins to make Earthquake lie down in the east. When the twins see mountains being destroyed by an earthquake, they tell him about a huge mountain in the east. The earthquake is thrilled to have the power to bring down such a big mountain. It then follows Hunahpu and Xbalanque, shooting birds as they go. When they take a break, the twins put plaster on one of the birds and name it Earthquake. Earthquake eats the bird, but soon gets weak, so the twins bury him. The story of Hunahpu and Xbalanque's father and uncle, 1 Hunahpu and 7 Hunahpu, is told by someone who goes back in time. Along with 1 Hunahpu's kids, 1 monkey and 1 artisan, they play a ball game. The lords of Xibalba, the dead, don't like the ball game, so 1 Death and 7 Death, who are high lords, call 1 and 7 Hunahpu to play ball with them. 7 Hunahpu and 1 Hunahpu agree. This is where 1 and 7 Hunahpu are on their way to Xibalba. They stay on Black Road until they get to the Xibalban lords' meeting place. There, they greet the lords, though the first 2 lords sitting there are actually just wooden figures. The lords laugh and send their guests to Dark House. 1 and 7 Hunahpu are told to light 2 cigars and a torch at night, but they fail to do so. The Xibalban lords kill their guests in the morning. 1 Hunahpu's head is cut off and put in a tree, which soon starts to bear fruit. Blood Moon, a young lady, walks up to the tree. Because 1 Hunahpu spits in her hand, she gets pregnant with Hunahpu Ensbalenk. Blood Gatherer, Blood Moon's father, tells the owl messengers to cut out her heart when he finds out she's pregnant. Instead, they help Blood Moon get away from Xibalba and bring the lords a heart made of tree sap. Blood Moon asks 1 Hunahpu's mother, Xmucain, for help, but Xmucain is sad and doesn't believe Blood Moon's story about being pregnant. As a test, Xmucain sends Blood Moon to gather corn. On the way, Blood Moon makes many ears of corn out of corn silk. 3 years before Xbalanque and Hunahpu are born, their bigger brothers, 1 monkey and 1 artisan, are angry. The twins do well even though they try to kill their little brothers. When Hunahpu and Xbalanque need help getting birds out of a tree, they ask their bigger brothers for help. 1 monkey and 1 artisan try to climb the tree, but it grows and catches them. Both of them turn into monkeys. Later, Hunahpu and Xbalanque play music to try to get their monkey brothers to come over, but Xmucain's laughter scares them away. When Xbalanque and Hunahpu promise their grandma Xmucain that they'll take care of things, they do. They start gardening. They use magical tools to work the land, but when the twins go back to their garden the next day, the trees and plants have taken it back. That night, when the twins stand watch, they hear all the animals singing for the land to take back the garden. The boys catch a rat, and the rat tells Hunahpu and Xbalanque that their dad's ball gear is hidden in Xmucain's house. The boys then make a plan to get it back. After Hunahpu and Xbalanque send their grandma away while the rat cuts down the trees, the boys play all day. The Xibalban lords don't like the noise, so they call the twins to play in Xibalba. When Xmucain gets the call, she sends a louse to her grandkids with her message. Hunahpu and Xbalanque agree to go, but they plant 2 ears of corn in Xmucain's house to let people know if they're still living or not. So that Xbalanque and Hunahpu can learn the names of all the lords, they send a mosquito ahead to bite them all. The twins can now address all the lords by name. 1 and 7 Death send the twins to Dark House with the lit cigars and torch, and Hunahpu and Xbalanque use macaw feathers and fireflies to make their things look like they are lit. What the lords don't understand in the morning, they play ball anyway. They say they will leave if the Xibalban's ball doesn't stop the knife from flying out, and the lords agree to use a regular ball. The lords want the twins to bring them bowls of flower petals as a prize if they win. The boys agree and accept that they will lose. They send the boys to other trick houses to spend the night, and the boys use cutter ants to break into the Xibalban's garden. The lords look hurt when Hunahpu and Xbalanque bring the petals to them in the morning. After a ball game during the day, there is another trick house that night, where Hunahpu's head is bit off by a snatchbat. He makes his brother a new head out of a squash, and the next morning they play ball again. The twins win the match after Xbalanque tricks the lords and Hunahpu gets his head back. The twins are aware that they have to die. But they call for 2 seers and tell them to grind up the boys' bones and throw them into the river. 1 Death tries to play a game with Hunahpu and Xbalanque the next day by having them jump over a big oven, but the boys do not think twice and die. Following what they were told, the seers come out of the water 5 days later as wanderers. The great tricks they do get the attention of 1 Death and 7 Death, who then call on the vagabonds to perform for them. Hunahpu and Xbalanque kill 1 and 7 Death as part of the show, but the Xibalban lords don't come back to life. The twins then try to put their father and uncle back together, but decide to bury them instead. The twins finally appear in the sky as the sun and moon, and the 400 boys turn into stars. Sovereign Plumed Serpent and Xmucain go back in time and grind corn to make the first 4 people, Jaguar Quitza, Jaguar Knight, Not Right Now, and Dark Jaguar. But these men are too perfect, so the gods decide to make them partly blind so that people can't become divine. The gods make women for men, and people do well. The people go on adventures and build forts. People are given the gods Tohil, Alix, and Hakowitz to worship at their second castle. Soon after, the first sunrise happens. The gods turn into stone, and people are thankful. Soon, Tohil tells his people that he is going to be hunted by nearby tribes. For the first 4 men, Tohil changes into a real boy after they start giving him animal presents. The men begin to hunt and kill the tribes, and the tribes plan a way to kill Tohil. The girls send Wailing Woman and Lust Woman to tempt the boy gods, but the gods send the women home with magical cloaks. When a tribe lord puts on a cloak with wasps on it, the wasps come to life and sting the lord. The groups then decide to attack. Tohil shows the 4 men how to set a trap with wasps, mannequins, and stolen armor, and the trap works. The groups can be killed by anyone, even the men's wives, and the people who stay alive become slaves. When this victory is over, the first 4 men leave their kids a bundle of flames. The bundle is a way for the sons to remember their dads. After that, the Mayan people do very well. They fight a war and have good times, and the Kish house becomes the most powerful. The person telling the story names the most important people from several family lines and says that the Kish lords become great by being devoted and studying the council book. The narrator finally says, "This is the end." After the Castilians came, there was nowhere left to see the people or the book.
About the author. Tedlock was born in New Mexico and spent his childhood there. Tedlock spent his whole life studying the Mayan people of Central America after getting his PhD from Tulane University in 1968. He went to Guatemala a lot with his wife, Barbara Tedlock, and wrote a lot about what they found, including turning Mayan texts written in hieroglyphics into English. In 1986, the PEN Translation Prize was given to him for his translation of the Popol Vuh. In 1997, he and Barbara both won the American Anthropological Association President's Award. Tedlock taught English at Buffalo State University of New York. In the 1980s, he was one of the main supporters of dialogical anthropology, which tried to give the native people, in this case, the Mayans, a bigger say in anthropological writings from the West. In this way, Tedlock's version of the Popol Vuh is unique because it includes interpretations and notes from Andres Silage, a modern Kish daykeeper. The most popular form of the Popol Vuh today is Tedlock's translation, but he didn't write it. The Popol Vuh was first told orally and then written down in hieroglyphs. Around 1550, it was finally written down in phonetic Kish.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.